Damn you, Kaiba, you've crashed the market!
Rob Stone, 2 damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
Hey guys, welcome back to the top of the deck. Ace of Bats here, and today I wanted to go ahead and discuss something near and dear to my heart. Is it a good idea to invest in Yu-Gi-Oh? Now this video was a little bit triggered because my boy Master Swag King actually did a video yesterday regarding investing in the Yu-Gi-Oh market and reprints, whether they're a good or a bad thing. Now I'm not going to go ahead and jump on top of him or anything like that because he actually put some excellent points up and he was actually very objective with his arguments. And whether you agree with it or not, it was a quality product, we're going to leave it at that. So, it's not really that I wanted to discuss, but it is something I wanted to discuss because the community is very polarized about whether it's a good idea to invest in Yu-Gi-Oh or not. And I'm just here to tell you, it's a terrible idea! But, let's go ahead and break it down. So, here are a few things about it. So, the thing is about people about reprints the most is it drops the value of a card, which is kind of an interesting sort of concept there. I mean, there's always going to be a $40 card, there's always going to be a $90 card, there's always going to be a $70 card. It's just that one week it's going to be named Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, and next week it's going to be TOTD, Super Doom King, Fresh Paint, Viking Blood, Vibe Master. So that's not really what it's about, but I actually did have a conversation with a friend of mine in the locals, my boy Taylor. Actually, you're probably watching right now. I'm hoping you're watching right now, man. And he was discussing that he was a little bummed out that a couple of his cards dropped down because he had worked really hard to get those cards, did a lot of trades, was putting in a lot of time, and then boom, they pop right out with a reprint, and he's just sitting there like, oh, now I'm kind of regretting doing all that. And it just kind of made me think, you know, how often do you really invest in Yu-Gi-Oh? And should you do it, and what should you expect while we're doing it? So I did a little bit of research, and I ended up on a site that had a really good article written by a really good investor. I'll go ahead and link him in the description box below. And he brought up some really good points about investing in Yu-Gi-Oh! And collectibles in general. And I wanted to highlight the top 4 points. The first thing is cost. That's one of the big problems with investing in collectibles. Yeah, occasionally you'll go to a garage sale, grandma's getting rid of, you know, grandson's cards that he grew out of, and occasionally you're going to find deals of Diabolic Dragons, or, you know, let's say something insane like a Shonen Jump Crush Card Virus, and she's going to put it in the $5 bin. Is that going to happen every once in a while? Maybe, but statistically speaking, it's not going to happen. You know, you hear stories of people like, oh yeah, I bought 3 packs at Walmart and I pulled an Ash Blossom out of it, so out of the $12 I spent, I made myself a solid 85 bucks. Pretty good deal. But if you break it down, there are 2 secrets in every box, and so that means you have exactly a 25% chance of pulling any 1 secret out of any box. So out of every 4 boxes that are typically going to be about 70 bucks a piece, that's when you're going to find yourself the $95 card according to the law of averages. That's just kind of the way it works. Is it going to be like that explicitly? No, because we're dealing with tens of hundreds of thousands of boxes right here that we're talking about. So you're not going to have a really high probability. So the fact of the matter is, if you really want to make money doing this, you have to have money in the first place. It requires a significant capital investment to be able to invest in collectibles like this, and that's a very important thing that a lot of people lose out on. Right in line with the second point is actually fees and costs. So now we're talking about buying and selling when we're talking about investing, because when you invest, you buy low, you sell high. That's kind of the general idea. It's just like the stock market. It's just like anything else. You want things to appreciate in value. But you're also going to have costs, you're going to have fees, so you got to definitely wait and time it out properly. For example, if you buy, let's say you buy an Ash Blossom at $70, for example, or a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit at $30, for example, and you see that there was a reprint coming, you want to go ahead and flip it right away, and you flip it for, let's say, $28, not a significant loss on investment, but then you got to figure, oh, I got to pay eBay for this, I got to pay shipping for this, I got to go ahead and get materials to send it out, you know, card toppers, envelopes, that sort of thing. And when you really add that up, you've already lost yourself a solid, you know, $5-6 bare minimum. So you may as well have just taken $5 and tossed it in the bin and held onto your card, and you would have been pretty much in the same spot, to be perfectly frank. And, you know, let's not even get into, you know, selling to card shops and selling to, local shops, because you're looking at 40 to 60% of market value, so you've already lost 40% on your investment. Bare minimum, doesn't really matter. A third thing to keep in mind is cards are not liquid. Now it's, to explain that a little bit further, yes, I'm fully aware that card stock is solid when it comes down to the chemistry of things. When it comes down to the physical chemistry of things, duh, cards are solid. That's not what I mean. What I'm talking about is the difference between liquid assets and not liquid assets. So liquid assets are things like cash, things like bank account balances, that sort of stuff. So money that you can flip back, flip forth, things that actually have an active value that you can snap and then it instantly changes into that value. Versus something that's a little less liquid, like a house, for example, or a car, for example, things that take some time, they have to be on the market. Stocks are a little more on the liquid market, bonds are a little less, that sort of thing there. Just think of it this way. If it's not something that you can just go ahead and put down and it's worth something, it's not a liquid asset. And cards just aren't like that. You have to find a buyer, you have to research the market, you have to put it up on a website like TCG Player, or you can sell it in a local Facebook group, or you can put it on eBay, and then you gotta make your money, but then you gotta deal with fees, you gotta deal with shipping, and it's gonna be about 6 or 7 days till you get your cash. And the market can change by then, you never know, someone's gonna cancel an order. A whole rigmarole of things can happen. And cards, bad investment because you can't turn them right back into money instantly. Also, another interesting thing about Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it's not a good investment because there are no dividends whatsoever. So think about dividends and stocks and things like that. If you own a certain amount of company, at the end of the year, they're going to go ahead and pass out a little dividend bonus to shareholders and things like that, actually. With a card, you don't get a return on investment. It either appreciates in value or the market fluctuates, and that's just kind of the way it is. So there's no dividend and no interest on it, and you want to make sure that your card's doing something. You have to sell it to make something happen there, is the thing about it. So, and it's illiquid, so you have to make sure that you sell it, and you have to sell it quickly to actually make any money off of it and make it a good investment, to make it do something for you. So that's another trouble. While we're on the subject, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the stock market. Now, we're not going to talk directly about the stock market, but the Yu-Gi-Oh card market is like a stock market. It kind of, you get a lot of fluctuations, things go up, things go down, just depends on the player base and what people are doing. So it's really kind of akin to investing in gaming. Let's say, for example, you buy yourself a $500 PlayStation 4 setup. The second you walk out of GameStop and you turn around and you say, well, looks like I'm a little short on rent, I gotta go ahead and take this in. What's the guy at GameStop gonna say? He's gonna look over everything. He's like, oh, it's a pretty nice setup. And this is probably worth
1/4 portion.
And you're still in the same spot. No interest, no dividends, it's market dependent, it's a rough place to invest. Alright, so here's another thing I wanted to discuss. Potential for destruction. These are card stock. They're pretty easy to destroy. I mean, to be perfectly frank with you, it's cardboard. It's not really hard to get rid of. I mean, you can lose it in the mail, if you have a fire at your house, if there's any water damage, anything along those lines, boom. You put $4,000 in the cards over there, you get one leaky roof, one real bad day, you lost $4,000. It's not a good idea to invest in something physical like that fluctuates that much and put that much money into it when it's just so fragile, And it's not like it's gonna bounce back afterwards. You can have a bad day in the stock market, and then the market can recover. You're gonna see a big change in a company like a Best Buy or a Target or whatever. They get a new CEO, they get revitalized, they post better earnings next quarter, and then boom, your $12 stock is back up to $68. It doesn't work like that with a card. As soon as that hits the water, boom, you've lost your money. You wasted that money, and that's it. And guys, here's the bottom line. It's a card game, and it's a hobby. I know people like to, kind of make their money work for them. They like to recycle the money as much as they can in a hobby like this because it does get expensive. But you really just have to see it, think of it as a consumable if you want to be able to budget properly for this game and enjoy it. it's excessively difficult to make money off merchandise like this, and since Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a player's game, cards are always in rotation, you never really retire a card, it doesn't really become a collector's item in the same way as Pokemon or Magic does, where you have those really weird short printed cards like Black Lotus and old school Charizards and things like that, that just become these collector's items that people pin on walls. No, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, I can have a copy of Delinquent Duo, it can come back into the meta, and then boom, that's a playable card. That's something I'm using to take to the championships. That's coming off my retired shelf over there. I believe Master Swag King, actually. So Joe, he mentioned that, you know, they put these reprints out over here, like last year when they did Battles of Legend, Life's Revenge, they did a bunch of extra deck monsters, and then promptly, I think like pretty much that weekend, that's when the Link Strike Structure deck came out, and then we were under Master Rule 4. You couldn't use them the same way, so they were cheaper, and everybody had them, but then you couldn't use them the same way. And he's saying, hey, same thing with this. Everybody gets an Ash Blossom now, everybody gets a Ghost Ogre now, everybody gets a Drolin Lockbird now. And then we actually got a new spell card that's actually coming out 2 months down the road. I think it's a month or two down the road, one of the two of them. But anyway, we get a new one coming out in the next base set that takes care of hand traps. So, kind of gets power creeped out either way. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast. That's it. I know some guys that actually do make a little bit of a profit from it. Some, you know, you get your dealers, you get your vendors that know how to really, really buy low and really, really sell at the right time. You're gonna have to do that, but that's a full-time job. Hopefully that helps. If anybody was confused or upset about anything, I'd like to hear about it in the comment section below. And I'd love to hear some arguments against this. Tell me why it's a good idea to invest in Yu-Gi-Oh! I got like 4 billion of these things lying around, and I figure I'm not going to make a penny off of them until I'm done with the whole thing and I quit spending money on it and get rid of them all. That's going to be my profit margin. And I'm okay with that, unless you have a better idea. Post it in the comment section below. Let's get a conversation started. But until then, on that bombshell, Ace of Bats is signing out.